There was a time when a tractor's hydraulic system was not just another feature. It could mean the difference between a long, back-breaking day and a farm that finally worked a little smarter. In this video, we are counting down 10 historic tractors with hydraulic ideas so unique and so practical that many of them still make sense today. And trust me, the tractor at number 1 changed farming in a way very few machines ever did. Number 10, the Case VAC. Small, simple, and easy to overlook, the Case VAC was never the kind of tractor that tried to impress from the road. Built from 1942 to 1955 as a row crop tractor, it was the kind of machine you might find parked beside a barn, dusty from mowing, belading, or pulling a small wagon, and ready to go again the next morning. It used a JI Case 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine, rated at about 18.9 engine horsepower. And that modest size is part of what makes its story so honest. What made the VAC matter was not flashy power. It was the thinking behind it. Case was moving toward its own answer to implement control, a path that helped lead to the Eagle hitch, and gave the brand a hydraulic identity of its own. That mattered because it showed farmers there was more than one smart way to make mounted equipment useful in the field. And even now, that little Case still makes sense in a certain kind of life. On a few acres, around a garden plot, along a gravel lane, or in light mowing duty, a VAC still feels practical. Not fancy, not fast, just willing. That is why older farmers still respect machines like this. They were built for real work, for real families, and for days when useful meant a whole lot more than modern. And if this little Case hinted at where hydraulic convenience was going, the next tractor made implement hookup feel even more practical for everyday row crop work. Number 9, the Farmall Super C. If you grew up around red tractors, this one probably feels familiar. The Farmall Super C was built from 1951 to 1954, and it was never just a tractor people owned. It was a tractor people knew. You can still picture it now? That bright red shape in an early Midwest morning, easing down a row of corn or beans, doing the kind of work that kept a family farm moving. Under the hood was International Harvester's C123 gasoline engine, a 2.0-liter four-cylinder, delivering about 23.67 PTO horsepower. It was a small row crop tractor, but it held a bigger place in farm memory than its size might suggest. What made the Super C special was not just the way it looked. It was the way Farmall started making hydraulic implement handling quicker and more farmer-friendly. In 1953, the fast hitch became available. That gave farmers a quick connect, 2-point hydraulic hitch system that made changing tools faster, simpler, and more practical in everyday work. It was Farmall's own answer, and it gave the brand a hydraulic identity that stood apart. Even today, the Super C still makes sense in the right hands. For light mowing, grading a lane, pulling a wagon, or working a few acres, it still feels useful in an honest, straightforward way. That is why people still remember it so warmly. It was not flashy, it was familiar, and for a lot of farmers, that mattered more. But while the Super C made things quicker, the next machine helped bring one of the most important hydraulic ideas in farm history straight into the American barnyard. Number 8, the Ford 9N. The Ford 9N did not just become popular. It changed the way farmers thought about a tractor and the tools behind it. Built from 1939 to 1942, this small gray machine used a Ford 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine and delivered about 23.87 belt horsepower. By today's standards, that may not sound like much, but in its own time, the 9N felt like a door opening to something new. It was simple, low, purposeful in design, and it was built to be an all-around farm tractor, not a machine for just one job. What made the 9N truly historic was the 3-point hydraulic hitch and lift system developed with Harry Ferguson. That idea changed everything. Mounted equipment stayed better balanced. It worked more safely, and it became easier to control than the older pull-type methods many farmers had struggled with before. After the 9N, farming did not look the same. One tractor could handle more work with less wasted effort. And that basic idea still lives on across American agriculture today. That is why the 9N still matters in a countdown like this. No, you would not choose one for heavy modern fieldwork, but for a few acres, a mower, a blade, or light utility chores. The spirit of the 9N still makes perfect sense. It gave farmers a smarter way to work, and that kind of progress never really goes out of style. And as revolutionary as the 9N was, the next Ford fixed one of its biggest real-world limitations, and that made it far more useful in daily farm work. Number 7. The Ford NAA Golden Jubilee. The Golden Jubilee looked like a celebration tractor, but what really mattered was underneath. Built from 1952 to 1954 with the special 1953 Golden Jubilee badging, this was the Ford that felt like a real step forward. It used Ford's 134 cubic inch overhead valve Red Tiger 4-cylinder engine, rated at about 31.14 PTO horsepower. And its cleaner, more modern styling matched what farmers felt from the seat. You could feel the difference. What made the NAA so important was its live hydraulic system. Earlier Ford N models used a PTO-driven hydraulic pump, but the NAA switched to an engine-driven pump. That meant the hydraulics could work without depending on the PTO being engaged. That may sound simple now, but on a real farm, it meant smoother lifting, easier adjusting, and less frustration in the middle of a job. This was not brochure progress. This was the kind of progress a farmer noticed before lunch on the first day he owned it. And that is why the Golden Jubilee still makes sense today. For loader work, scraping, blade work, mowing, and small property chores, a more responsive hydraulic system still matters. The NAA was not just a pretty anniversary model. It was Ford moving into a more practical era, where hydraulic convenience became something a working farmer could truly use. Still, the next tractor brought a very different kind of regional pride. And for many Midwest farmers, it felt like a machine built by their own part of the country. Number 6. The Minneapolis-Moline U. The Minneapolis-Moline U may not get talked about like the big green and red legends, but across the Midwest, it earned respect the old-fashioned way, by working. Built in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the UTU row crop version ran from 1938 to 1955, and more than 33,000 were built. It was a sturdy, upright machine with that unmistakable prairie gold look. The kind of tractor you can still picture sitting beside a barn after a long day of haying, chores, or field work. Under the hood was a 283.7 cubic inch per 0.6 liter four-cylinder gasoline engine. What puts the Model U on this list is not flashy hydraulic bragging. It is what the tractor represented. This was part of an important stretch in tractor history, a time when farm machines were becoming more adaptable, more capable with mounted equipment, and more useful beyond a single task. The U was a true row crop design, with a 5-speed transmission, manual steering, and a layout built for real field work, not show. Not every important tractor became a national celebrity. Some simply earned their place one season at a time, and that is why this tractor still connects with older viewers. For many Midwest families, Minneapolis-Moline was part of local farm life, and that memory still carries weight. But the next tractor felt a little more polished, a little more advanced, and it showed how hydraulic usefulness could pair with a truly well-rounded farm machine. Number 5. The Oliver Super 77. The Oliver Super 77 was one of those tractors that felt balanced in all the right ways. Just steady, capable, and right at home on a good Midwest farm. Built from 1954 to 1958 in Charles City, Iowa, this row crop tractor had the kind of calm confidence older farmers still respect. Under the hood was a 216 cubic inch, 3.5-liter Waukesha Oliver 6-cylinder engine that gave it enough strength for real work, but still enough manners to feel easy to live with. What helped put the Super 77 on this list was its real-world hydraulic usefulness. It used an open-center hydraulic system with about 13 gallons per minute of pump flow, and that gave farmers the kind of practical flexibility they could use day after day. This was not just about raising an implement. It was about making one tractor useful for more kinds of work around the farm. Add in the independent 540 rear PTO, and the Super 77 began to feel surprisingly modern in the ways that mattered most. Better control, easier operation, less wasted motion in the middle of a long day. And that is a big reason Oliver still has such a loyal following. For light mowing, wagon work, blade duty, and acreage chores, a Super 77 can still make good sense today. It was a quiet achiever. And sometimes, those are the machines people remember the longest. And if the Oliver felt well-rounded, the next tractor made hydraulics and implement control feel even more purposeful, on a bigger, harder-working scale. Number 4. The Farmall 400. By the time the Farmall 400 arrived, hydraulics were no longer a side story. They were becoming a real part of what made a serious farm tractor worth owning. Built from 1954 to 1956 as a row crop tractor, the 400 looked like a machine from a new chapter in American farming. It carried International Harvester's 264 cubic inch four-cylinder engine. This was no longer just a handy old tractor. This was a tractor built to do more and do it with purpose. What made the Farmall 400 stand out was the way its HydroTouch system and optional IH fast hitch worked together. With 3 hydraulic valves and a hitch system designed to make implement changes quicker and more practical, the 400 gave farmers more control over mounted tools and less wasted motion in the middle of a long day. You can feel the industry changing here. Tractors were becoming more refined, more capable, and more focused on saving time, not just delivering pulling power. And that is why a Farmall 400 still looks right at home doing real work today. Mowing, blade work, wagon handling, general chore duty. It had enough muscle to stay useful, but just as important, it had the kind of hydraulic versatility that let farmers feel progress from the seat, not just read about it on a sales sheet. This was one of those moments when farm tractors grew up fast, but the next tractor had a hydraulic identity all its own. And for loyal Allis-Chalmers people, it still stands out as one of the smartest farm ideas of its time. Number 3. The Allis-Chalmers D17. Now we are getting into tractors that did not just work well, they did things their own way. And the Allis-Chalmers D17 is a perfect example. Built from 1957 to 1967 in West Allis, Wisconsin, the D17 had the kind of solid, confident look that made it feel ready for real work. It came with a 226 cubic inch, 3.7-liter four-cylinder gasoline engine. This was a serious row crop tractor. But what made it memorable was not just power, it was personality. What gave the D17 that personality was the snap coupler system, and Allis-Chalmers' traction booster idea. This tractor did not follow the crowd. Its hitch and hydraulic setup gave it a feel all its own. And that difference is exactly what still makes people remember it. Traction booster was not hydraulic innovation for bragging rights. It was built to help the tractor transfer load more effectively and pull smarter in the field. That was the kind of improvement a farmer could feel from the seat, not just read about in a brochure. On later versions, the hydraulic system reached about 2,000 psi, with roughly 10.5 gallons per minute of total flow on the main pump. And that helped keep the D17 useful well beyond its own era. That is why the D17 still gets used, not just admired. Still, the next tractor took hydraulic usefulness to a level where even today, plenty of farmers would look at it and say, that machine could still earn its keep. Number 2. The Farmall 560. The Farmall 560 was not just another step forward. It was one of those tractors that started to feel genuinely modern in the way it handled real farm work. Built from 1958 to 1963, this row crop machine carried International Harvester's 263 cubic inch, 4.3-liter, 6-cylinder gasoline engine. What pushed the 560 this high on the list was its hydraulic capability. With live hydraulics, available fast hitch, and hydraulic pump options that reached around 12 gallons per minute, with some setups going even higher, the 560 moved beyond simple lifting and lowering, and into true day-to-day versatility. It was the kind of tractor that could handle mounted tools, chore work, and changing field demands without making a farmer feel like he was wasting half the day just getting set up. That is where the title of this video really comes alive. This tractor was not just convenient, it was adaptable, and that is why the 560 still feels so relevant. For mowing, blade work, wagon handling, and modern utility chores. It still has the kind of usefulness people understand right away. It connects old-school toughness with practical modern function. And that is a rare combination. By the time you get to a tractor like this, you can feel just how far hydraulic thinking had come. And yet, even the 560 was not the final word. Because the number one tractor on this list had a hydraulic system so advanced, so influential, that its reputation still reaches far beyond nostalgia. Number 1. The John Deere 4020. If there is one tractor that proves hydraulic innovation can outlive its own era, it is the John Deere 4020. Built from 1963 to 1972 in Waterloo, Iowa, the 4020 was not just another successful row crop tractor. It became a standard other tractors were measured against. It carried a 6-cylinder engine, most famously the 6.6-liter diesel. What made the 4020 truly special was its closed-center hydraulic system. That system set a higher standard because it gave the tractor fast, steady hydraulic response that felt ahead of its time. List hydraulic pressure at about 2,250 psi, with early total flow around 18 gallons per minute. And that kind of performance is a big reason the 4020 still feels so capable even now. This was not hydraulic progress just for a sales brochure. It was the kind of progress a farmer could feel every time he raised an implement, ran a remote, or worked through a long day of loader and utility jobs. The 4020 still makes sense for mowing, blade work, moving equipment, loader chores, and all the everyday jobs that never really go away on a farm. Older farmers respect it because it earned that respect. Younger collectors admire it because they can still see the usefulness in it. Across the Midwest, the name 4020 still means reliability, capability, and a kind of engineering maturity that changed expectations. The John Deere 4020 did not just represent hydraulic progress. It proved that when a tractor is engineered right, useful never really goes out of style. Some tractors are remembered because they were popular. Others are remembered because they changed the way farm work got done. And the tractors on this list did both. They brought hydraulic ideas that helped farmers save time, take on more jobs, and work with a little more control and a little less strain after a long day in the field. That is why they still matter. Now I would love to hear from you. Which of these tractors still makes the most sense on a modern farm today? And which one did your family trust the most back in the day? Share your story in the comments. And subscribe for more classic tractor history.